Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, May 1st, 2020. Hope everybody's doing well, staying healthy. And this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable over the past week. So first up, we may have had another unconfirmed Google update, probably on April 28th and April 29th, so Wednesday and Thursday. There isn't significant chatter. There is chatter for sure, but it seems like a lot of people are just not chatting up in the community as much. There are people who are definitely talking about this, but it seems like the chatter in general, since this whole COVID-19 thing happened, has died down a lot around Google updates. But there's definitely lots of signs of a Google update. The tools are showing it. There is definitely chatter. Some people are saying this is a bigger update than some core updates. I'm not seeing that per se, but Mozcast and Rank Ranger and all the tools are pretty much showing significant changes over those 2 days. So if you were impacted, definitely take a look at that. On COVID-19, Google said that they may or may not go ahead and actually postpone the September deadline for when they're going to go ahead and switch over every site to mobile first indexing. So early this year, I think early March actually, before this whole thing, just a couple of weeks before, there were all these lockdowns, stay-at-home things. Google basically said any site will be indexed using mobile-first indexing starting September. Now, Google said so far it looks like still sites are making progress moving over to become mobile-friendly and to support mobile-first indexing correctly. But if they see there's a slowdown, or if people complain and let John Mueller know on Twitter or whatever that they can't do it because of resource issues related to not being able to hire certain people, or they don't have money because of COVID-19 to make their sites ready for mobile first indexing, then Google will go ahead and switch it out and postpone that September deadline. I think they probably will end up postponing it. We'll know about probably in a month or so, John Mueller said, so stay tuned, and hopefully I think Google might postpone it. Gary from Google confirmed something that he confirmed numerous times, but that people always are shocked to hear. But basically, Gary from Google basically said that, let me quote him, this is related to site speed. He said, ranking-wise, it's a teeny tiny factor. He said it's very similar to the HTTPS ranking boost in terms of how important it is, in terms of the significance or the weight assigned to that ranking factor. Again, it's important obviously for your site to be fast. It's important for your users to convert, but in terms of a specific ranking factor, it's very, very teeny tiny, as he said. So over the past couple weeks, we reported about this box in Google that basically lets searchers ask questions. It basically lets you say, what's your question? And that's basically, we said, Google first launched this in 2018 as a test in India and those regions. And then they launched officially in 2019, calling it the Google Question Hub. It's basically a way, if Google doesn't have great content for a specific piece of article, people could then go ahead and submit the questions to Google. Google will then somehow submit it to content producers and say, we need content about this, and maybe they'll write about it, and Google will index it and then rank it. Google just launched this a couple weeks ago as a pilot in the US. Google told me it was related to only COVID-19 related queries, but everybody's seeing this very wide in the US for even queries not related to COVID at all, like payroll protection plan, gardening, and stuff like that. So it seems like this is a much bigger test than Google told me. I'm not sure if they just recently decided to expand it, but it definitely does seem to be a bigger test. So if you're seeing that box, you're not alone. Google gave advice on what to do with large websites that have been around for a long time that have a lot of old content. Do you remove it? Do you no index it? Do you just leave it? And the answer is, it depends. John Mueller gave a long post on Reddit about what you should do or what you shouldn't do. My site is, I think, almost 17 years old now. I have some really old content there that's been around for a really long time that is kind of not great anymore. But I personally do not want to go through tens of thousands of articles and update them all, nor do I want to no index them, because I do want to find them on some days. I often link back to stories I wrote back in 2004. So it's not like I don't want to have that archive. So it really depends on your website. It does help with rankings if you do clean up those articles or make them better or whatever. But definitely take a look at that Reddit post if you are interested in what John had to say. Google said that GoogleBot their spider, will rarely ever submit a form on your website. They said they used to do this they announced they do this back in 2008. They announced it officially that they will go ahead and submit forms. But that was basically when lots of websites, including government websites, the only way to navigate to content, publicly accessible content on that website was to submit a form, a search or something like that. Now most websites, he said, have great navigation and architecture. So Google just click through the links. But John basically said that it's very rare these days, at least, for Google to go ahead and submit a form to access content on your website. If they're doing that, it might be a sign that Google believes that, or there might be a sign that your website has a poor navigation architecture and Google's doing that just to get the content. So if you see a lot of that happening, it might be a sign that your navigation is pretty bad for Google to access. Google said they get pickier with the rich results, showing rich results in the search results, if it becomes very overloaded with rich results. So if you go to a search result page and it's covered with rich results all over the place, Google's engineers might go, this is too much. What can we do to give only rich results to sites that are maybe deserving of it more, maybe higher quality websites? So Google's done this numerous times over the years, and John Mueller just confirmed that. So there was this interview with a Bing engineer by Jason Barnard with the Bing engineer Nathan Chalmers. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And basically he went through a lot of Bing related stuff around image search and other things around search and how the team's divided and what they work on. Definitely a great interview. You should definitely take a look at that. I posted on it yesterday. So if you want to get access to those links in the summary, definitely take a look at that. Google again said that you do not need to submit your site to Google manually using the Google Search Console fetch URL features. You do not need to do that. It's not called fetch URL anymore. It's part of the indexing stuff. But if you have to do that and you're constantly doing that, then maybe it's time for you to fix your website. Of course, you could do it on a one-off basis if you want to get content indexed quicker for a special story or whatever it might be, or you had some indexing issues. But in general, you shouldn't have to be part of your routine to actually go ahead and submit content to Google. That's not something that you should be doing on a day-to-day basis. A lot of SEOs disagree with that. I kind of definitely do agree with John. I'm posting new content all the time across multiple sites, and I never go ahead and submit them manually to Google. Google also said if you have lots of soft 404s on your website being reported in Google Search Console, that might be a sign that you're linking to those pages that are triggered as soft 404s a lot in your internal navigation. So definitely take a look at that. If you have that issue, definitely take a look at what Google said. Google announced some changes to Google Search Console reporting, specifically for several reports, including the AMP report, mobile usability report, speed report, and all the rich result reports, basically saying that they're tracking fewer pages as part of these metrics. And because of that, you might see a decrease in the number of errors being reported in Google Search Console. They're doing this to improve performance and speed of the Google Search Console reporting tool, but yet you're going to get less issues or errors and so forth in those reports because Google's tracking fewer pages. So just keep that in mind. That's an important little tidbit there. Google Search Console also added a new feature for copying and pasting URLs. It used to be that it was a little hard to copy and paste a URL from a report. Now they added a little copy button, which you could click on and it'll copy the URL in that report, which is a little nifty feature. Nothing massive, but it does help. Google also said that they discard multiple reconsideration requests. So if you submit a reconsideration request today, and then you wait 2 weeks, and then you submit an additional reconsideration request for the same issue, Google will discard the newer version, so it won't help you by submitting multiple ones. It's just wasting your time. Google also added a new property or new properties for the event structure data. It's basically to say what the organizer is, who the organizer is. So it's organizer name and it's organizer URL. And it basically gives you a way to add to the snippet who the organizer of that event is. Google Ads now allows some pharmacies to advertise, online pharmacies, because obviously a lot of this telemedicine stuff and nobody's really going to pharmacies. Nobody really wants to go out to a pharmacy these days. And a lot of pharmacies are doing online deliveries and so forth. So Google now allows a lot of online pharmacies who meet certain regulations and are certified to go ahead and actually advertise using Google Ads, which is a new thing. Google is testing a new format for how-to schema. We discussed this a week ago or so, but it seems like it's really rolling out a lot more. And I included some examples I'll include them in here somewhere, what those look like. Again, Google's constantly testing stuff. Google's also testing black URLs. So usually the URL is above the title, and Google's testing it below the title. So Google's constantly testing things, as you can see there. Google's also testing underlining the searches related to box. Last week, I think we showed you how they were testing 3 columns as opposed to 2 columns. They was also testing magnifying glasses next to them, and now they're testing underlining those searches related to, which I included a screenshot as well. And finally, we posted a vlog this week. We're doing 1 vlog per week now because kind of running low, and I want to make sure to be able to do these videos in person if possible. So we're switched to 1 a week on Mondays. So you get the vlog once a week on Mondays, but I posted this past Monday with Mordy Oberstein from Rank Ranger. We talked about quality content through Google algorithm updates and core updates, and we also talked about feature snippets. Are they worth it? So definitely take a look at that video as well. Any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. Again, my name is Barry Schwartz. Today is Friday, May 1st, 2020. Everyone have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next. Be well. Bye.